WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Common. Erika.
Daryl.
It is so nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking food. You're the editor of Eater Boston. I want to know something.
Okay.
Tell me about the last meal you had in Boston that blew your mind.
The last meal that truly blew my mind in Boston was a recent trip I had to Quincy, this place called Rubado Food. It's a Hong Kong-style cafe from a chef named Lawrence Louis, Boston-born.
Okay.
His career took him to London. He was working in all these fine dining restaurants. I believe he wanted to open a restaurant in London. That was the original plan. Meanwhile, his mom owns a bakery back in Quincy, and I believe she had been asking him to take it over, and he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. No. I have this other plan for myself. Pandemic hits. He kind of pivots and says yes to his mom, and so he comes back to Boston and takes over the bakery and then just reworked it into this beautiful space with this menu. They do breakfast and lunch, and it's congee, it's baos, it's rice rolls, but everything is just really phenomenally made, and the space is really cool to be in too, and it just, I don't know, it feels like a really good place in Boston.
Awesome. That's one hell of a pandemic pivot. Now, you said Quincy. I'll count it. It's the Boston region. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Okay, Erika Adams, you just got to Boston. Welcome. And already you're getting the scoop on 8 of the most highly anticipated restaurant openings in the Boston area this year. Before we get into the good stuff, because we love to talk about food, how did you come up with this list?
Good question. So it's doing a lot of research. It's talking to people, kind of understanding what is opening up in 2023, and then kind of going through and being like, what am I most excited about from all of these openings? And I'm looking for, diversity in geographic range, in ownership, in the type of food going on, in, some of them are major restaurant groups, some of them are independent players, some of them are opening a restaurant for the first time. But I think the unifying factor with all of them is like, these are the places that are going to make Boston's dining scene great in 2023. And I'm equally excited about each one of them. This kind of sums up what Boston's dining scene is going to be like this year. And everybody should be very excited about it.
I feel like Boston's restaurant scene is kind of slept on.
Same.
I think there's some good spots up here.
And this might be highly controversial to say, but I just started this job about 2 months ago. And prior to this, I lived and worked in New York City. I worked for the Eater New York team. So I was doing the same job there. And now I've come here. And I think that there is a massive stereotype out there about Boston's restaurant scene and that it is boring or it doesn't hold a candle to other cities of its same size across the US. And that is just simply not true. And I don't know, kind of where that disconnect is coming from. But having been on the ground here, I have had so much fun dining out around town. And I can't wait to just dive more into that and keep talking about it.
Well, here we are.
I know.
Let's dive into this list that you have for us.
Perfect.
Tell us about some of these restaurants that you're excited about.
Okay, great. I'm going to start with one that is about to open actually this weekend. This place is called Mei Mei Dumpling Factory, and this is actually a bit of a rebirth. Mei Mei was formerly a restaurant in Boston, very well known for its dumplings. They kind of pivoted during the pandemic. They did a lot of wholesale. and kind of really thought about kind of the next version of the business. And so now they have opened this dumpling factory in the Ironworks building in South Boston. It will be mostly dedicated to wholesale customers, but they will also have a cafe out front that will be open to the public during lunch hours. And so this is where you'll be able to get the goods that they formerly sold at the restaurant. You know, there's the fan favorite, most popular lemongrass pork dumplings. They're bringing back their Double Awesome, which is this insane egg sandwich that has 2 fried and poached eggs that are wrapped in a scallion pancake. I'm so excited. They have their grand opening event this weekend. RSVPs are all full for that, but they're going to start welcoming the public in on a weekly basis starting next Thursday, January 26th.
Nice. You know, shout out to May and co-owner Irene Lee. We're trying to get her on the show one of these days. So, yeah. Big shout to May. Okay, what else you got for us?
Perfect. All right. So next, rolling into Comfort Kitchen. So this is one that I feel like Boston's entire restaurant industry is very excited for this opening. It's global comfort food through the lens of the African diaspora. They had a pop-up that ran all through 2021 at what used to be Little Dipper in JP. But now they're moving into this permanent restaurant in Dorchester. The past pop-up menus have included things like jerk roasted duck, za'atar brown butter trout, just like kind of really, really, imaginative flavor profiles and just kind of really exciting food. And
I'm still stuck on jerk roasted duck.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God.
Yes, I don't know if that will be on the permanent menu, but I will be looking out for that.
For real.
Yeah. And so anyway, so they've been working so hard through this opening. I feel like it's been coming for years at this point, and it's finally happening by the end of the month. Boston permitting things, as long as all that comes together, by the end of the month, they'll be open.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
I want that duck. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Politics has never been stranger or more online, which is why the politics team at Wired is making a new show, Wired Politics Lab. It's all about how to navigate the endless stream of news and information and what to look out for. Each week on the show, we'll dig into far-right platforms, AI chatbots, influencer campaigns, and so much more. Wired Politics Lab launches Thursday, April 11th. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back. Okay, where else we going?
All right. Now we're going to move over to Brookline. This is a new spot called Bar Vlaha from a Greek hospitality team. I don't know if you're familiar with these 2 Back Bay spots, Krasi and Hekate. Krasi is a Greek wine bar and restaurant, and then below it, they have this subterranean cocktail bar, Hekate. They're like extremely hard to get into, very fun places. So it's the same team behind those places are now opening Bar Vlaha in Brookline in February. So this will be a rural Greek restaurant that's focused on the food of the Vlachs, which is an ethnic group of nomadic shepherds in Greece. So there's got to be lots of breads, hearty pies, spit-roasted meats, a really good, hearty food that they're going to be focusing on there. And it's very exciting.
I love that, especially because Brookline is a short walk from me compared to other places in the city. So
Great.
That's definitely on my list.
Great.
All these places are on my list. Tell me, I'm a big fan of soul food. You can't go wrong with soul food. I'm thinking Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen in the South End. Do we have any places like that opening up?
We do. We actually have a place by the owner of Daryl's Corner Kitchen Bar. So Nia Grace is the owner, and she is headed to the Seaport, which, overall feelings about the Seaport aside, this will be very exciting. So the spot is called Grace by Nia. She's partnering with Big Night Hospitality to do it, which they're behind a lot of live music and nightclub venues in the city. And so she's going to be responsible for the food. She's doing her Southern soul food there. It's going to have some New England twists. So there's going to be hush puppies, cornbread, but also lobster, crab cakes. So that will be happening in the restaurant there. And then they will also have a slate of live music going on in the space too. And that is opening in April.
I love that, bringing that Daryl's energy to the seaport.
Yeah.
I think it's much needed.
Yes.
Moving along. Those sound amazing. So I am curious to know, is there anything about these restaurants that really stands out to you? What kind of trends do you see?
I mean, I think that each of these restaurants are very ambitious, and it seems like people are perhaps really going for it this year in ways that, kind of dipped in 2020, 2021. The Eastern Standard is coming back as well, which I hear is a Boston icon. There's a lot of excitement in the air, and I think people are bringing it with these restaurants, it feels like, and I think it's going to be very exciting to see this all roll out.
So we talked about how the Boston restaurant scene is slept on. And I'm thinking the pandemic has been really rough on restaurants. I wonder if there has been a leveling of the playing field due to COVID that now allows Boston to reintroduce itself as a contender when it comes to dining. Would you agree with that?
I think you're exactly right. And I think it's, not only a reintroduction, like, hey, we're still here, but, we're doing better than we were even pre-pandemic. It's like the table has been reset. And so how do we build it back even better now? I was talking to the guys behind Birds of Paradise, which is this new cocktail bar from the Blossom Bar team.
Yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah. So this new spot is in Brighton. And I was talking to them about how it feels to be opening this bar right now. And something that they both said was that, we feel like we have to get this right, not just for the sake of making sure that the business goes well at the bar and making sure that it's a hit, but like we are representing Boston's cocktail scene right now and kind of the rebirth of this scene, right? And we decided to stay in this industry through the pandemic. Like a lot of people left, and rightfully so. We decided to stay in it. And why did we do that? Like, this is our chance now to kind of show why we are still here, why this matters to us, and kind of representing the scene as a whole within these new openings.
Something is happening here.
Something is in the water.
Something is happening in Boston, yes.
Yes.
And the restaurant scene is one of those areas where there's some kind of new energy happening, and we are in the middle of it. This has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you about. I really look forward to seeing the rest of this list and going and trying out some of these places. So thank you so much for coming and talk to us about this. You got my mouth watering, and I am excited.
Good. That was the hope. Thank you so much for having me. This is really a joy to be able to talk about this with you.
That's Erika Adams, editor of Eater Boston. You can check out her full list of the 8 most anticipated restaurant openings for 2023 at boston.eater.com. And that's our show for today. Hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at WBUR The Common, or send us an email at thecommon@wbur.org. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you have a restaurant opening that you're excited about. Otherwise, The Common is produced by Franny Monahan and Caitlin Harrop. It's mixed by Emily Jankowski, Matt Reed, and Paul Vaitkus. It's edited by Ben Brock Johnson. And from the newsroom of WBUR, I'm your host, Daryl C. Murphy. And I will talk to you soon.